We'll call to order the regular meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners for Tuesday, September 22nd, 2015. Good morning, everyone. My name is Langdon Neal. I am chairman of the board. To my left is Commissioner Marisol Hernandez. First item, I should mention for the record that today is National Voter Registration Day. An important day, maybe not known as well as it should be around the country, but an important day nevertheless. First item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Any additions, deletions for the record? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes for our August 11, 2015 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez. I'll second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll move to the minutes of the August 25th meeting. If it's an opportunity to review.
Motion to approve.
And moved by Commissioner Hernandez. I'll second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
The minutes of August 25th, 2015 are approved. Executive Director's Report, Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to give the board members some updates of some dates. Our budget hearing in front of City Council will be held on October 7th at 9 a.m. We have a meeting today at 3 o'clock to go over it with a pre-submission meeting. Don't have a date finalized for the county yet, but I just want to let you know about the city.
Thank you.
Yesterday was the State Board Advisory Committee. The agenda was very brief. It was to report on the 18th Congressional District, 45-day report, the move. Legislation, nothing much going on in legislation. Voter registration online. It was talking about, they've done about 70,000 online registrations that we've done with the state board so far. And
How's that working?
they're very pleased with it.
Yeah,
they're very pleased with it.
And that was 70,000 since when?
Statewide.
Oh, statewide.
Yep.
Since the inception of the program a little more than a year ago, a year and 2 months ago. And Chicago accounts for 45% of those registrations. So last Friday was 68,000, and we account for 31,000. So more than our fair share.
Mm-hmm.
The state
And how
board-
many have we done organically in that same period of time, roughly, do you know?
I'd have to check with Charles.
Okay.
Right.
But there are other registrations that we've done through canvassing that the state board performed with the National Change of Address program.
And over the whole state, it's over 250,000 of those changes have been made.
Oh.
So both projects are working really well.
And then our online registration.
Well, our online registration now goes immediately to the state system, and that way they're hooked in with the Secretary of State system to verify the driver's license or the state ID, as well as the date of birth and the expiration date of that form of identification. So there's kind of a safeguard there to verify that that is the person who's filing that change or that new registration. Then we have our PDF form,
Right.
which you can fill in. And if you don't have a driver's license or a state ID, that's important to offer. And I'd have to check with Charles, but a lot of our traffic is now moving to 2 other directions. That's people updating in person, their driver's license or state ID, or going online. So we're seeing it's much more efficient for this office, and it'll be especially true next year when we get into the presidential election.
Thank you.
And that's basically where I know Kelly will report on what's going on with the E-poll books.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the executive director?
No.
All righty, we'll move to the Assistant Executive Director, Ms. Bateman. Good morning.
Good morning. As Mr. Goff mentioned, we did run a test last week at our warehouse, and we had 10 locations total where we went out and tested the E-pollbook. It's an ES&S product. It's a new tablet with a different type of Verizon internet connection. So we did that. We are reviewing data, and we are preparing a report. So, but the test went well. Otherwise, registrations are picking up, I'm being told by our registration department. For the 2 special elections that happened this summer, the POVA was closed for every jurisdiction, even if you weren't having the special election. So that opened up again 10 days ago. So they're grabbing those, but they're getting busy, registration department. Warehouse, I was out there last week. They are still working on the preventative maintenance on the equipment. They should finish that up in the next week or 2. And everything's moving along. It's September, so it's election season.
Yes. How was the download time in the morning on your test?
It was very good.
Huh? Good.
I was also at AECOI last week in Danville,
Mhm.
Thursday and Friday. Kyle Thomas was there from the state board, so he, poor Kyle, he gets beat up because of these laws that are implemented, and he
Yeah.
makes it very clear. They don't. The state
They were
board
just
doesn't.
administrative.
State board doesn't
Yeah.
ask for them. They just
Yeah.
administer them. And so he went over the NCOA, which is new. So he's trying to get everybody on board with that. Some jurisdictions have never used the NCOA, so this will be new to them. But otherwise it was a very good conference.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else from Ms. Bateman? Okay. Mr. Allen.
As you both know, Commissioners, the Brennan Center for Justice came out with a report recently that we've circulated. It has received widespread media attention, focusing on the average age of voting equipment around the country heading into next year's presidential election. And the gist of the report, or a big headline out of the report, was that 43 states will have equipment that's 10 years old or 10 years old or older. So the headline for our purposes was, we're not alone. So, it talked about the difficulties in financing any kind of equipment change at this time. It also talked about different opportunities. It was a very informative report beyond that headline. We also had last week a delegation of German journalists brought in by the State Department. They wanted to learn everything about the Chicago Election Board, its operations, voter registration, election day activities, what have you. And since the board last met, you may be aware of this, the legislature passed and the governor signed legislation enacting a mandate for civics education in our high schools as a requirement for graduation. It's something this board has long wanted, and special kudos to the McCormick Foundation as well as McFit Challenge, who helped lead the way in lobbying for this change. It's going to take effect next year, meaning incoming freshmen in the high schools will start having to have this semester requirement for civics education, bringing back something we've been missing since the 1950s and that we've long wanted. That's some really good news. That's like one of the last pieces really from the voter engagement project 4 years ago that our focus group at UIC,
Yes.
you headed up, told us that they thought were needed. So we've done everything on the election code side, and now we've got civics education.
Well, as you know, Mr. Allen, this board has been promoting the return of civics education even beyond 4 years ago. I think it's been something we've worked on for a long time, and we were the lone voice in the woods, But gradually it began to take shape, and people began to think about it. That maybe the days of those blue books that you used to open up and learn about government. and how it works and how it functions is a worthy area of study for our children, for our kids. So just a moment to take note of that and what this board, you know, in our part of that effort. So
Boy, you're
just
you're
an
telling
editorial comment. That's all.
You're telling our age about the
Well,
blue books. It's like, oh.
Listen, I'm proud of it. It's not- yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes.
And that concludes the report.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for Mr. Allen?
No.
Okay, we will move to the old business section. Infrastructure projects and changes in election administration. Evaluations and recommendations. Well, I think it's noted that many of our recommendations from our civic engagement forum 4 years ago have now been achieved. We can just check them all off, mission accomplished. So that's something for the staff in the agency to be proud of, I think. And I don't think we have any other infrastructure projects pending right now other than the
Chairman.
testing of the new poll books. Yeah,
The eventual replacement of the voting equipment. So.
but that's on the drawing boards, yeah.
Yes, it
Sure.
is.
Electronic poll books, Kelly reported on that. Voting equipment, we've reported on that. And everything is fairly got to stand still down in the legislature
It's
for
stand
at least voting issues.
There is an issue with the state board in their budget for next year, so we may have to look at that once that budget is, the state's budget is passed. It may impact on us.
Okay. All right, new business. Contract for Mr. Jong Lee.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Goff, do you want to
Yes.
address this?
John Lee has been working for the board. He is assisting the board's personnel in maintaining the VRXG voter registration system. He's also training staff. He's implementing new programs. Also, he is the one that is designing and developing and testing our online election judge application. So I know the contract was presented to the board members. We did not vote on it at the last meeting, but I'd like to see if the board members will vote on it this meeting. It's something that we're ongoing, and he's been working on this, but we have not billed anything until the contract is passed.
Okay.
So this is a contract for professional services in connection with our VRXG voter registration system designed and training of the staff on the operation programming of the system. The compensation is for $100 per hour for an amount not to exceed, and I'm not sure.
80,000.
80,000.
The term. Then the other agreement is the online judge application shall not exceed a total sum of $175,000.
So it's two
separate projects.
Separate projects, okay. So the first project, it is for an amount not to exceed $80,000, and for the online judge applications program and training of the staff, the amount shall not exceed $175,000 over the term. The term of the agreement is for 1 year.
1 year.
Expiring on July 14th, 2016.
Correct.
And there is a detailed statement of work included. Alrighty. Is there a motion?
We have a motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Hernandez. I'll second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That'll be the order. We also have an agreement for professional service solution, CPURX. Mr. Allen, you want to talk about this one?
Yes, Mr. Jason Bowman is here in the audience to answer answer any questions about this contract. This provider has consistently given us a very flexible, expandable platform on which we host all of our web services, and it has proved very valuable in being able to meet the demands, the peak demands, especially around Election Day, when we are inundated with traffic by our 1,400,000 voters who are looking for information on their ballots, and the polling places and early voting sites, what have you. This contract actually reflects a reduction in what we're paying right now. They would take in the hosting services themselves instead of farming it out. And if you have any questions, Mr. Volman is here to answer.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Volman?
I have questions for Mr. Scanlon, and so what I would, and I think there are minor issues that can be remedied, and so what I would suggest is that we approve the contract on pending
Legal review?
legal review of certain language
Okay.
in the contract.
And if that turns out to be substantive modifications, then we'd bring it back before the board.
Ex-
Otherwise, we'd authorize the legal edits to the terms and conditions.
Yes,
Yeah.
in our approval.
All
So
right.
that is my motion to approve pending the changes that have been recommended.
Okay. The amount of compensation for this contract, Mr. Allen?
If we go with the 3-year term, it is approximately $1,300 a month, which I believe is a very, very exceptionally good price.
I would agree. All right, moved by Commissioner Hernandez, subject to legal edits. I'll second. Further discussion, hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
That'll be the order. Thank you so much. Legal status report, Mr. Scanlon is ill today, so we won't have a legal status report. You're not going to give that, are you?
No, I'm not gonna
Okay,
give that,
good.
Mr.
You don't.
Don't have my license.
You don't have your license. Okay, we do not have a financial report. We'll move to the public comment section. Do we have anybody here who wants to address us? Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Wright.
Good morning. I have a question, just real quick. First of all, when will Commissioner have replacement be made? Is it long Republican? I am interested.
Yes, and that's a very good question, and one that's beyond our purview here. The appointments to this board are made by the Circuit Court of Cook County, and we're not consulted.
Okay.
Or we have no input in the process, but we're also anxiously awaiting the appointment also.
And then just clarification on the first contract with Mr. John.
Yeah.
I understood it to be a total of $175,000. That means that the online judge application program and training is $95,000. Is that correct?
It's not to exceed
Right, not to exceed.
175.
Okay, so but the total will not exceed $175,000 for both contracts?
No, that would be, so for both, we'd add 175 plus 80, so that would be what, 150, 255,000.
So the
Max.
second one is not to, the online judge application program and training is not to exceed $175,000?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Wright?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for us today? All righty, we do not have a need for an executive session today, is that correct?
No, we do not.
Okay. All right, I will accept a motion to recess until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be just a second.
The 12th is Columbus Day.
Yes. All right, I'll have to maybe adjust that. But for right now, we'll say till October 13th.
Sure. Motion to adjourn?
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you.